We're live. Welcome. We're starting early. Episode 73. I think we're gonna in this we're gonna talk later on. Lucas is not with us. It's just me and Owen. So I guess it's like NPR light.
Yeah. It's kind of like carpets and coffee, or kind of not. Yeah.
It's carpets and coffee. But, we got a question about temperatures and keeping carpet pythons too hot. What does that mean? Can we go into detail? So, of course, we'll go into that. Everybody in the chat, what is up? What is going on? Yeah. Pedrick's back. Okay. Good to see him back. Very good. How's everything going? So, how you been, man? I know we didn't have NPR this week because I think I'm falling apart.
You are. It's in the 12th year, the wheels are coming off the wagon, and now I don't know what's happening. So, because Melissa's like, when are you doing the show this week? I'm like, Friday and Monday. She's like, stop changing. And I'm like, never. It is a fluid schedule. I don't know what's happening. We don't know when it's going to come. Yeah. So, no NPR this week, but we will get back on that train soon. Yes. I've been all right. Like just it seems like because we're in February now, so you should be warming up a little bit, or normally we're warming up. But this has been such a light winter. It's almost like I almost don't want to. I almost feel like I shouldn't be warming up because right now, like today was cold as shit, and it's like, all right, good, now we're working. But I wanted to start clicking up the warmth and also getting my guys some food because I wanted to feed everybody. So I definitely think next year I'm going to push back breeding season by like a month or two. So,
well, I gotta say I'm like I don't even know if I'm going to produce carpets this year, but I'm pretty excited about the season. If that makes sense, right? I look at this year as like getting back into it because I haven't bred in what really bred in 2 years. I mean, I had a clutch or whatever, but
you haven't bred to the point of lunacy, which is usually where I'm at every year. In about 2 years. Yeah.
Yes, it's been a bit, but man, I'm pretty excited about. Well, for this year, I'm most excited about diamond pythons. So I think all my focus is on knocking out some diamond pythons because I think that would be pretty.
Now, when you say like you're not going to produce any carpets, are we in that point where you're like, I'm not going to produce anything?
Yeah,
and then like in a month or two, we're going to be drowning in eggs because. I mean, I wanted to ultrasound because I'm pretty sure I have 2 carpets already.
Yeah,
the caramel head albino, which is just weird to say. And then the I think my tiger posset axanthic is also gravid.
Okay.
Everything else is up in the
tiger posset axanthic.
Yes.
Okay.
Tiger posset axanthic crossed to a tiger posset axanthic. Now, she looks like a normal tiger. Okay. He looks bluish silver. Like it's one of those where it's like he's a posset, but he looks like an axanthic. So it's one of those things.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. But then I'm also getting like nonstop locks from, over there.
Oh,
we dare not speak their names. Yeah, just So
Owen's only talked about him as much as talked about him Bricot, so you can figure that out.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So maybe like, and here's the thing: if the roughies happen, I don't give a shit about anything else. Like, how quickly I'll go to. Oh, another carpet clutch. Yeah,
that's how I feel about it. Same way. If you get roughies, you're gonna be over the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Justin got an ultrasound? How about that?
Yeah, he did. He messaged me.
How to use it?
Well, he posted in there. And he's like, does anybody have an ultrasound? And I'm like, I do. And then he and I did private messaging back and forth about like, he bought it and he goes, I don't know why I did it. I just thought I needed it. And he and I kind of went back and forth of what I used mine for. I'm going to actually ultrasound a bunch of my girls this weekend to see to try to confirm some of the ones that I'm kind of like, yeah. And then second, to try to be like, this one, I think I see some stuff developing. So see,
Is it
he's already.
carpets? Oh yeah, look.
Yeah, see, he's probably ultrasounding everything. Everything he can get his hands on right now. Yeah. What's in here? I don't know. So yeah.
Coke bottles, sweet lady DDP. Let me see.
Here's to be filled with liquid.
Bottle. Yeah, oh, now I lost my train of thought.
Have I used it on myself?
Oh,
yes,
no.
I have. I have ultrasounded my own ankle.
Oh,
don't know what the hell I was looking at, but
we don't want to see what's on the inside.
Yeah, my one friend, they were pregnant with their third, and I'm like, listen, can I just kind of come over and see what's up? And we never really figured it out, but I was like, yeah, all right, I'll ultrasound a pregnant lady, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I guess if you ever have little Owens running around,
never. No, whoa,
anytime soon, you can always.
you shut your goddamn mouth. God,
what I was gonna say is that if you do a carpet, can you take a picture? Can you take like a screenshot of it?
I don't think mine can. I mean, I usually what happens
a picture with your phone.
Yeah, I have done that a bunch of times. Yeah.
Okay.
Like we'll
do one for a carpet because I might need that for the website.
Like we have videos of like Melissa and I took videos of us working on booking links. You shut up.
Good one, Rob.
Melissa and I took videos of ultrasounding some of the pythons last year just to kind of see what we were looking at and kind of look up. She's got a book on ultrasounding exotic animals and stuff like that, and just kind of see where we were at. And you know what? I could probably I have to play around with it some more. Like I got to the point where I'm like, I can see things, and then I stopped learning what I can do with it. Like I need to actually like sit down and be like, and I can do this. Like, and there's that. So, yeah, I have the pictures of the white lip eggs ultrasound on my phone. I'm not obsessive. So yeah.
Well, speaking of obsessive, real quick, I've started to go through all my carpet python information because I'm putting together a website, right?
Okay.
So that, and we talk about the binder. This is the binder.
Is this the binder of like the printed internet? Like you printed the web pages? Okay.
Yes. Yep. This has like Morelia Python forums, article like the tiger and the
why does this remind me of like going into a library and being like, I need all the newspapers from this year and these things. Like at some point we're gonna solve a murder with this information is what's gonna happen.
But there's a volume 2. This is all papers, like just scientific papers and stuff. But
when we have the NPR Memorial Library constructed somewhere, they'll all be in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I'm not obsessed. No. Behind the green door. Yeah. The archives. Yes. Things that you can't find. Like, let me see. Let's flip open something.
So if you ever made an obnoxious comment on the Morelia Python's forums, Eric has it printed, saved for posterity, and then could be brought up at any moment in time.
Yeah.
And if anybody's thinking that they were like kind of a dumbass a couple years ago, don't worry, Eric has proof.
I do have Nick on a couple things.
What I say?
he wasn't so kind back in those days.
We have the full-blown knockout drag out arguments that we had over Jag in print form for you to read.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of one
great.
that everybody would know. See, like look.
Yeah. Chuck's there. I know Chuck's in some of those.
See? It's
printed out. God, no.
This is Red Morph Carpets.
I'm gonna have to go through that book and destroy anything
man.
Dramatic reading.
It's fun, man. It really is fun.
Next Carpet Fest, we can put on a play with costumes and all. With just like dramatic reading of the Jag. Yeah.
The thing, like this was Ollie's site.
Right? Oh yeah. And
that was the extent of the carpet python morphs.
6 animals. Are any of them actually morphs too? Like they're all morphs, right?
So I have a granite jag. Remember when
Okay.
granite jags were like the shit, and everybody was like,
Nobody cares about that right now.
No. You had albinos. Obviously, the albinos. We need Nipper to read it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a dramatic reading of MP forums by Nipper. Yeah. It's all gone 6s and 7s. Yeah.
When the internet crashes and the world comes to an end and we're all zombies, I will have all the carpet python information.
I'm pretty sure there's a premise of several apocalyptic movies where it's
here's a funny one. This was a draft of the first complete carpet that Nick sent me to read.
Are you supposed to have that?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's tons of good stuff in there. You should definitely. I think at Carpet Fest, I'm gonna have it out so people could just. Oh look! I have
to go through it. I have to go through the collection and purge anything that has me in it. Hey,
that's his Jungle Carpet Python article, Australian Addiction. I think he still has this up.
I think we know those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Good stuff. This is how I learned, man. You know,
I learned through reading.
That doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. But you know,
now people just want to be told. Yeah. Classified documents.
Yeah. Right. I think like this was always cool. Justin had this like all the different types of jungle carpets. And I'm sorry for people that might be listening to this. You probably want to.
This is terrible for audio medium. Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna have it out there. So anyway, I was talking about like putting this all somehow into.
Justin can sign the pages of his website that you printed for.
Yeah,
for you. Yeah, there you go.
Remember this guy? Remember Andrew Hare?
Yes.
Yeah, his website.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All I can think about are the insurance commercials where it's like, listen, we don't need to print to the internet. Like that's all I keep thinking about.
Yeah, right. Do we? Yeah, I do use Wayback Machine. I have used that. I've used that for like when we interviewed Call. That was one that I was able to go back and look at that. There used to be another Carpet Python forum, and it was called carpetpythons.net.
Right.
And that was the other one. That was when I think Anthony Caponetto got mad at everybody or something, and
he started his own.
So he's like, "I'm going to start my own forum." Screw you guys.
I love how that happened a couple times, and it's just like okay, it's just or it was like what was it? There was the forum. Like I did not know Kingsnake.com for the longest time had a forum because I was just brought up on MP. So all of a sudden you realize that Kingsnake has a forum and they have a whole Carpet Python section. And you go over there and that's Wild West over there. I mean, like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So, but that was the old days.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. I mean, Anthony Caponetto's article, like he had
his article on breeding.
An article on breeding. I pretty much use that as a Bible. You know,
that's what I did. Will Leary had one in reptiles that I referred to back forever.
I have that in here too. Will Leary's site is in here as well, you know, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna put it out at Carpet Fest for people to look at.
Cool.
Check it out. You know. Remember the good old days.
Good old days, yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying. I'm like working on an idea to put together like a lot of the information or pictures or you know, just the archives of stuff that I have that I can put together, because you know, like we talk about lineage and stuff like that, and you know, a lot of times people don't know what we're talking about. And I thought it would be cool if people could go somewhere and just look at that stuff
and learn these things. You know, we can't keep hitting you over the head with the information, apparently. So
yeah. Oh man, but if you're in the carpets, that's pretty much. There's actually a third binder too, and then I think I have like 10 of these with just different
flash
pictures
drives?
and flash drives and stuff. Yeah. I'm
showing it like got into Carpet Pythons. Like, you imagine if you had like got into berms, like what would you do? What would the data would be lost and we would just be stumbling like idiots. So I mean
I don't know. I guess I'm like the historian of the.
At this point, you know, we're gonna have all that stuff printed on scrolls so you can roll them up and then just pull them out and be like, oh yes,
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
But coffee wise, so I wanted to give a shout out to Cold Blooded Caffeines because they just started a YouTube channel. And do I ever sleep? No, I don't. I think that's why I have terrible health at the moment.
I am almost 100% certain he is on so much cocaine that it is.
What do you mean?
Coffee. Yeah. So, yep.
Anyway, Cold Blooded Caffeine, you know, which
YouTube
has
channel.
the carpets and coffee blend and a few other blends. Yep. I think I want to try a different one from them guys. So I'm gonna have to look it up. But go check out their YouTube channel, Cold Blooded Caffeine, and they actually talk about coffee from guys that actually know about coffee.
Yeah.
Rather than us just saying, "Oh, we like to drink it," you know.
Yeah. Listen. I have every day now. I have my little tumbler that can hold like 2 and like a half cups of coffee, and I have that filled with our blend of coffee. My caffeine addiction is now back into full swing, and I'm much better for it. So,
are you? You're full blown? Yeah.
God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right. That's cool. Welcome back.
I understand how I used to wake up.
How did you function before?
Yeah, dear God.
You know, what's crazy is that Rob sent the itinerary for the Utah trip, and we're gonna be hiking at night. We're gonna be going down into this canyon, and there's like a lot of elevation. So I've begun to train. I feel like I'm,
are you just
it's like Rocky.
Are you just gonna have can we just get you an oxygen tank at this point? Like, can we just get you a mask?
Dude, my gosh, man, my breathing has been terrible these past couple. I don't know if it's the switch in the weather constantly. I don't know.
Just
man.
So he's aware, if Rob kills you, we're gonna have a problem with what shows we can put out. Like, he knows that, right? Like, you please don't put this on my shoulders. Like, it's a terrible place for them to be.
Yeah, heavy squats. Yep, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, man, heavy squats for sure. That and doing elevated treadmill is where it's at.
Walk them puppies around the neighborhood a bunch, okay?
Well, I have that going on too. Yeah, I did a thing. I got
a small herd. Yeah,
I got 2 now.
You had 3. Roxy was already here.
Well,
you have 3.
She was already there.
Yeah.
So
3.
It's like having 2 new kids, 2 kids or whatever, just creating havoc and everything. But yeah, it's pretty good. I figured. I was telling you, it's like we got the one puppy, and then it's like, well, Roxy's a little getting older, and I don't want to do this again. So
Eric found his breed of dog, and that is the only dog he will ever get. Just varying on hair, whether they're long or short. That's it. He found his thing, and that's where he's at. So
that's where I'm at. I don't change.
Eric has 3 dachshunds now that are just. I mean, my God.
I never thought that I would be a small dog guy, but.
Dude, I'm looking at those things, and I told Melissa, I'm like, Eric doesn't have to worry about what he puts on the countertops. Those fucking things have never seen the top of the countertops. Like, as I'm looking at Zero, like up perched, leaning into the sink, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, yeah, no.
Well, understand, before I even had any ideas of getting a dachshund,
right?
I went to see Owen and I met Zero, and somehow Zero decided to lift me up by my crotch with his head. Like, he just shoved it in and picked me up. And I was like, oh, well, okay. I don't like dogs that are as tall as me. But
small dogs, please. Small.
Yeah. I like them. I like the tiny ones, but what are you gonna do? Oh, anyway. Cold Blooded Caffeine, check out their YouTube channel, and you should go check out their website. They got some cool people that are affiliated with them, and I think I blew through the bag,
dude.
Which by the way, I have your bag.
Oh, cool. Okay, good. I was like, man, I have to place another order, and then I'm like, sweet. All right, just go to Eric's. Got it. So, but yeah, like I got my dad a drip coffee pot, and I gave him some of the blend. So I promise next time I see him, I'll have him pose with it so it's Jim McIntyre approved.
Approved.
So,
He's got the old fashioned like Dixie cups from like 1970. You know what I mean? Yeah, with the little handles that you pull off to the
just pull
side.
off of it and hold it. Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Smoking a cigarette. I could see it.
We'll have him just drink it, so it's just like, yeah, he can pour it all over himself for all I care. But yeah,
Oh, these books down here, these books don't fit in my
those are extra books.
my book rack. I'm redoing this room. I don't know why I'm redoing this room, and I'm gonna move the books into the closet area, and I'm gonna pull this back more, and get me closer to the wall there. And have too much stuff, man. I have too many things to do and not enough time.
I'll help you by taking away the diamond pythons, and then you'll have more room there.
No,
Give me those, and then you can have all the space to spread out.
No. I don't think I would give away anything.
Yeah, please don't let me, because
maybe the Ackies. Do you want the Ackies?
No,
I can give the Ackies.
No. Also, I need another project like a fucking hole in my head.
I think you need Ackies, man.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I think you do.
No, I am not prepared for reptiles with legs. I don't know what to do with them. So,
yeah, reptiles with legs are definitely different than reptiles without legs.
so my nephew was over here. And he wants various snakes, and he's now grabbing snakes, and he wants them to be his, and I just take care of them and breed them for him. So he was asking me, because he said he wants a lizard, and I said I don't do lizards, buddy.
Does he want Ackies?
No. He's like, well, I want one lizard. I'm like, I don't do reptiles with legs, and he just got very quiet, and then he just like, Mort. I'm like, Mort was not mine, you little shit. Like that is I had no say in this. I'm like, what the hell? My 9-year-old nephew's trolling me. This is getting ridiculous. But yeah.
That's so I actually like the Kimberleys better. I like the Kimberleys better.
Kim's are so much better.
Once again, Rob was right.
If only we listened to him,
but I don't.
How many times do you think he listens to different NPR episodes when we finally get to where we were, like where we admit that Rob was probably correct, and he's like, "You morons!" Like, finally, you idiots! Like, yeah.
Oh, he just built a new lizard. Robert just built a new lizard room upstairs. Okay,
I don't have any more rooms, so
yeah. Cool.
And I keep doing you and I keep having that conversation when I'm like, I'm not going to add any more projects. And then like 3 weeks later, I'm like, I added another project. Like, I don't.
Whenever Owen starts a PM with, I did a thing, ...
I did something. Well, do something.
Geez.
All right.
And then it says, I did some really bad things.
I did some really bad things.
I'm like, oh God.
Well, all right. What'd you do now? And yeah.
It's starting to warm up, Robert. It's time to go some herping, some PA herping, man. Yeah. I was listening to Mike Curtin the other day, and he was talking about herping in the Pine Barrens and stuff.
He wants to go out again bad. I think he's trying to do some kind of a reptile get together. I'll talk to him about it if we can, advertise for him if he wants us to, or if it's invite only. But he's trying to set that up, and then want to do a bunch of herping around that time too. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be, dude, I love herping in the Pine Barrens, and, Mike's a cool guy. I don't think I'm going to see him this weekend. There was rumors that he was going to be, I'm sorry, not this weekend, next weekend. There was rumors he was going to be at Hamburg next weekend, but I think he's
Hamburg is next weekend.
Hamburg is next weekend. Do you need stuff? You need to text me.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me know what you need. I'll see what I got. But I'm splitting a table with Jason Bale and Eric Kohler and everybody else up there. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
I need to sell.
Well,
I have a lot of animals. I will. I have a lot of animals. I need to get the hell out of here.
I guess May 7th is our herping day. Is that when we start herping, Jason?
I think that's when Mike's doing his thing down there.
So, okay. Yeah. I got you. All right.
Yeah.
was going to say I didn't know there was a specific day. That
There's
we
only
start
you can
herping.
only herp on May 7th. Yeah, you try to
Yeah,
get as
don't
many
herp
as humanly
before.
possible. Yeah,
I think I saw Kyle in Delaware. He posted up today on Facebook. I saw.
he's out already.
Yeah, he found some water snakes.
I mean, it is really nice. It's
like 60 degrees.
I should just freaking walk down to the park next time it's warm near my house because there's queen snakes right down there.
Driving to there are?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man.
They're right over there. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. Like at the end of my block apparently is a really good queen snake spot. So
really? That was like high on my list to find them.
I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna find them. Yeah.
And then you're gonna want them.
They've been right there for that long. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, it's right. Like, well, my township over the past like 4 years, actually, probably only about the last 3 years, they've been building these bridges and walking paths and all this other stuff. So now places that the only way you could get to them was via rope bridge, and if half your body was in a creek, now you just walk right over. And it's like, oh, cool. So
the last time I came to your house, I went. It took me a different way, and I came in like the back way or something. And I'm like, I'm driving through, and I'm like, oh my god, this is all like prime herping. What the hell is he doing?
I don't know. I don't know. Just
he should be
around.
out every weekend.
Yeah, probably.
Not now.
Well, you got listen. I got enough critters that demand my attention that are in the house. You know.
Yeah. So how are the babies doing?
I mean, they're really good. Like I fed everybody this past weekend because tomorrow I want to separate all the big guys, feed them, and then put them all back together. And then Sunday I have to take pictures of all the babies that I want to put up for sale because I've been half-assing sales and listing stuff and doing all this other stuff. I didn't really want to do anything when it was supposed to be kind of winter. Like I don't want to ship. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want somebody to buy an animal and have to sit with it for a couple weeks. So I've been kind of just not really selling, but people find you anyway. So I've been selling here and there. So now I got to get my act together and I really got to take pictures and I have to start getting animals up for sale that I hadn't already listed. So like olive pythons, white lips, stuff like that. They all have to get listed. So that'll be Sunday.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Yep. So let me ask this question. We do have a question from Adric, but do white lips sell at Hamburg? Is that something that somebody would buy at Hamburg?
Hell no.
Too much?
No. The only idiot that would buy a white lip at Hamburg is me. So like, I mean, I'm the only one.
There's only one.
That's me. Yeah, that's it. I really doubt somebody's going to come walking in the door wanting to drop $1,000 on a white lip at Hamburg. Could it happen? Maybe, but I really doubt it. So a lot of that is going to go for, I mean, those would be the kind of things that you would take to a big show, like a Tinley or a Daytona. Now, would another breeder potentially buy a high dollar animal like that to take home and go for itself, like another vendor? Maybe, but I don't know. So I don't see large dollar amount animals selling at Hamburg.
When I tried it a couple times, I had those high end carpets, and well, shit, I couldn't even. Dude, you remember the argument I had about the lightning line jungle?
Right, dude went and bought.
Man, I wish I would have sold that
shit. Yeah, thank God that didn't happen. So
yeah.
What the hell are you doing here? Like it's
wait. Just dropping in a few.
Why would you come here? Like, go.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's carpet talk, man. You know, carpet talk. So let's get to this question. Okay, do Papuans refuse food when they're gravid?
The answer to that question is maybe, because some do, some don't, some eat all the way through, some refuse immediately. Like I will actually offer food, and I will be not shocked if the animals that I have pegged as being 100% gravid eat. I've had animals eat a week before they've dropped eggs. And I've
See,
had ones that just shut down.
so since I've bred Poplins and Owen hasn't.
Same goddamn thing. Yeah, come on now.
No.
Mean.
I have experienced with them that they do not eat.
Really?
Yes. I don't know if that's specific. Well, most of my carpets won't eat.
Are you concerned about the big gap of, because I understand I usually cycle down when they're going down for winter, no food throughout, and then I bring them up and try to get eating. Do you see food, like, will they eat prior to being gravid if you bring them up?
Yes.
And they're not gravid? And then they will get gravid and then they will stop eating. But I thought Poplins were some of the first ones to go.
They usually are.
So are you worried about like them coming? Do you winter them with the potential mate?
Yes.
Okay. So are you concerned with just the amount of time that animal goes without food if it becomes gravid? Because then if it does, and it's one of the first ones out of the gate, it might not eat after you warm up everybody. It might wait until after it drops eggs. So like, how much weight loss are we talking here?
Well, that's a good question. I would say if, that's why for me, I always approach feeding that female
heavy before we go down. Yeah.
Starting in the summer and really putting the food to her.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say, like, then I think I talked to Rob, and even when I was listening back to when we first talked to Ben, when the first Carpet Python book came out, right?
Right.
And he was talking about, remember the section in the book where it talked, I think he was phrasing it in the terms of like, a lot of farms would use like the turkeys. I think it was turkeys that he was talking about. They would have like these name badges or like these QR code badges on or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would walk up to the feeder. And when they walked up to the feeder, that badge would scan and it would give that animal like a specific amount of food that was geared towards being the most profitable.
If only we could do that.
Like, right. So I remember it was interesting because I remember when we were talking about that way back in 2011, that the one thing it was completely against what I did. Like I would not feed because I sort of took the Nick approach. And even Nick said on the last, when he was on the show last time, that Ryan had said this thing about food cycling. I think he was talking about Burmese pythons, right?
He was talking about the Burms, and I think he said he was also trying it for some of the other species that he just hasn't gotten over the hump with, where it's just like now they're refusing by themselves. Like he always used to just force cycling, just not offer. Now he's offering and animals are turning their nose up at it. So
yeah. So for me, like I remember, I think I was talking to Casper about this actually. And it's when he bred his Poplin pythons and he was telling me about, because I was trying to breed, I think I was trying to breed zebra jag or somewhere in that time frame when I was doing that. And
I love how you analyze the shit out of breeding zebra jacks. Like it was like you attacked it like it was some unclimbable mountain of a Papuan python. It's like you bred Papuan pythons. Tell me, how do I breed my zebra jaguar? Are you fucking kidding me?
Well,
he's going to say Halmahera. He's going to say all the other shit he tried to breed. No,
zebra jag. Yes. Dude, I spent a lot of money on that zebra jag. That was $5,000 for that male, man. It was supposed to go to Kerry King, and he backed out for whatever reason. And then Nick had sold me a caramel, and
he ended up with me at one point too, because I have his kid too. Yeah. I have his kid.
That's him. That's him.
Oh God.
So yeah, Nick, he can sell ice to an Eskimo, man. But he knew I wanted a caramel and I wanted to get into carpets. And I remember I was at work and I was an assistant. I wasn't the boss at this time. And then next thing I know, he gives me a call So I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey man, I got an opportunity for you. Clearly, clearly carried
the
in
window is closing.
this,
I got several people on my back
in.
line right now. You don't take this now. It's
And he's
gone
like,
forever.
you want to breed carpets? This is how you're gonna do it, And I'm just like, yeah, okay, yeah. And he like just convinced me. He's like, this is cutting edge stuff. I'm like,
I
well,
love
why
how
don't
we
you
make
do
him
it? I
sound
don't
like
breed that.
Superman's boss, where it's just, or I'm sorry, Spider-Man's boss, where it's like, pictures of Spider-Man. Like, it's just, I mean,
he was telling me about how, like, I think I would, because at the time I kind of knew that he was like a purist, but like getting into the carpets and stuff, I didn't know like the level of his his purity. So I was like, well, how come you're not doing zebra jags? And he's like, I don't breed that dwarf garbage crap. That's all hybrids, junking up the gene pool. And I'm like, so should I do it? Yes, you should do it. Because I can't.
Why did you ask him? Like, of course he said yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I got that. Anyway, long story short, I got that. Yeah, we kind of derailed the conversation. Well, it's good to reminisce about old times. So I bought that zebra jag for $5,000, and that was a lot of money for me.
Dude,
I was like,
you got the clutch. I remember the clutch was in my incubator. I'm like, no pressure at all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I was trying to get him to breed, and I saw like a lot of like I never saw a lock, and this was like when I was very first breeding, right? And at this point, Nick hadn't given me like sort of an insight into how he had done it. I didn't spend enough money yet. I had to rally up the toll.
You put the boy in the girl's cage. Like, I mean, come on.
So, but I couldn't get him to go, man. I couldn't get him to go. So like for the first 2 years, I struck out with breeding carpets. I think it was 2010 and 2011.
No, you had them before that.
No.
When did the show start? How long have we been doing this? Where the hell are we?
Yes. 2011. So 2012 was the first year I bred carpets.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. My first year was 2010.
Casper had told me about, he said, listen, like when you're when you start to bring them up, offer them a meal or two.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't go into ovulating, I wasn't seeing any action or anything. So I did. I fed it a small rat, and sure enough, man, that female, she was like, it was like
something about once they realize that food is abundant, they ovulate. So that's why it's like I have to feed, and then I have to pair the animals that I haven't paired yet, like my king rats, my pine snakes, and then the white lips, the golds are going to get paired and stuff like that. Like all that stuff has to happen this weekend. So everybody's got to get separated, fed, and then they have to, I usually let them sit for 24 hours because I don't want to like be like, all right, now that you've eaten, now to throw you in a high stress situation. Like it's like, I don't want them to just give them a day, and then they'll be all repaired on Sunday. And then we'll see how it goes. But I don't expect a lot of my boys to eat just because they're going to be ready to roll. So,
yeah, I had great success with that, but they would eat, and then once they ovulated and they were done. See, the weird thing is like Owen's carpets would always bask belly up. My carpets never would bask belly up. So, I wanted them to bask belly up. I'm like, why aren't you basking belly up? I didn't know that at the time because I was using under the cage heaters, where Owen was using heat above panels. The cage heat panels, So I don't know if that had something to do with it, which in a way seemed weird to me, right? Because what you would think that they would be trying to warm the follicles.
Well, I think if it's a panel or a heat source that is above them, they're trying to flip around so that the heat goes directly on the eggs because of where they are. In the female, it's on the belly. If it's belly heat and she's able to just kind of like just smush her belly right up on it, I think she gets that heat to those eggs right that way. So I don't know. Right now in that caramel, I don't think she's close because, to be honest, I didn't remember the last time she shed, but she's starting to twist like a pretzel. I'm like, you can't be that close. You're not going to do this to me where it's going to be like March 1st eggs. Like, don't do this to me. Like, it
This
is
was the one that I gave you.
Yeah, she ready to roll.
Oh yeah, dude, she might be ready.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, my snakes didn't bass belly up, but as soon as they were about to lay, like twisted. I mean, the next day they were twisted like a pretzel. It was the craziest thing honestly, I've ever saw.
Part of my brain looking at her with the fact that she's constantly being twisted and the fact that the male is now. I went from not being able to see the two of them to now he is out 100% on top of the bin away from her. Like when I separate, after the ultrasound, he may not be going back in with her because there's no point. And we'll just rock and roll. But this is a first year for him, and this is my first year for her. So yeah.
Good luck, man.
Yeah.
I hope hope all goes well. Congrats.
Yeah, have fun with the new one, the new baby. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So for me, the telltale sign that I always go by with carpets, I can't really say that I haven't really seen it in other pythons like I have carpets, but maybe it's just because I'm not paying attention but they have this, their belly scales get how would you explain it? Square? It's like the sides.
The belly scales
go like this anymore. Yeah. They go more like
that, like it's a square. So the belly scales will pop out, and that's that. And then also you'll start seeing the massive scale separations on the sides, and that is always just kind of like I don't see that a lot with the carpets, but like. The scale separation on my king rats was insane. Like it was like scale, bunch of skin, other scale. And I'm like, dear God, like that is, I'm like, I think I killed this animal. Like this is, what did I feed you? And then she just shot out a bunch of eggs. I'm like, oh, there they are. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I never worried about them not eating. I would worry. I guess if I was doing maternal incubation, you really have to
again.
You would, right.
I had to move my incubator into the laundry room to make room for more cages and my big freezer. So now I'm like, I might end up doing more maternal incubation, so I don't have to walk outside the room. It's
what do you think it is about carpets and the whole python keeping group? Like I know we all have our own little niches and stuff like that, but like why carpets are the one that people do maternal incubation with? I wonder why that,
because maternally incubating a reticulated python and it's 175 eggs is an annoying piece of thing to deal with.
Yeah, but like you would think like ball python breeders would.
Yeah, but how good are ball pythons at wrapping up the eggs?
I mean, they do it in the wild, no?
I mean,
I don't know. It's just weird. Like, why did they say, oh, carpet pythons are really good at wrapping up that? Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't.
They are, but
they are.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not going to deny this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do I think that it would need to be a complete perfect beehive to incubate eggs properly? No. Do I think most ball pythons and other things like that could breed? Yeah, sure. Or could maternal incubate? Yeah. But I think it just came back into the whole of, maybe one animal did something stupid and put the eggs in the water bowl, and then everything else just you felt better taking it away.
I call bullshit on that. I think that's like the whole like they dropped them in the water bowl thing. I think that was just an excuse for.
I don't know. Mother jags are real stupid. So
that's funny. That's funny. Mike Curtin was talking about that the other day, and he was saying about how like a lot of people won't. Like I remember me specifically, I was jag would always be a male, never a female.
I've had some female jags, but
yeah. Well, no. I'm saying for me, like I geared my projects to where I didn't have to worry about that. I'm trying to star these questions as they pop in because we
should stop rambling and actually answer them. Yeah.
But I would. Well, we're kind of answering them, but I would. I don't know. I always felt like the jag, for whatever reason, I think it was Jason that told me this.
Well, it had to be Jason. I think Jason probably had just one stupid female that was not good at rapping.
That's what I mean. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
But
like
that's
one
how that
person
starts.
that we all look up to.
Right, but that's how that starts. You have one dude that has one animal that fucked him over once, and then now we're all like, oh shit. Like that's also you got the if you let a female maternally incubate, she may not jump and bounce back enough to be ready for next year. So you pull the eggs so you can feed her.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah. I definitely would not breed a female back-to-back years if she maternal. I'm telling you,
no, that's
they
look horrible.
Horrible.
The only reason mine didn't look as bad is because she ate while she incubated.
She is,
but then she took a giant crap on top of the eggs. So it's like, okay.
I mean, she is an Owen snake.
I mean, yeah, they are fed over here.
I mean, you know,
they come from you and they're like, what is? Oh my god, 2 rats in 1 month. My god,
I can't figure out like what that perfect balance of offering. You know, like
there is no perfect
man.
balance.
It's no, I know, but like you think about like I just think about that post that Matt Somerville put up with that brown snake. And like how it ate like 2 mice in the whole year, and it had all these fat deposits all the way through it. I'm like,
what does it mean?
What?
Yeah.
All right, let's circle back. Here we got a question for you right here.
Okay.
Does your brumation tactics differ from your Asian colubrids to your American ones?
It does and it doesn't. So the North American colubrids are brought outside to a side room where the power is turned off, and they just kind of whatever the temp is out there, it's definitely cooler than the python room, and that's where they are. But also that's where my Vietnamese blue beauties are, but they are kind of kept a little bit cooler. But as far as the brumation for, say, the Chinese king rats, there is no brumation for them. Like they have no heat source all year round, and they just get chucked together and they breed. Rhinos, pretty much the same thing. I don't touch their temps at all. It's just that the house naturally cools down and their heat panel doesn't do as much as it was supposed to do. And it's really just there as a safety net anyway. So there's not really any like hard brumation for my Asian colubrids, but like the corn snakes and the king snakes and the pine snakes, they go from a very nice warm rack or being inside the python room to being kicked out into the side room that has no insulation, that is kind of like it bombs. But to be honest, where it seems to work out better is like, so the Madagascar stuff breeds at cooler python temps. So when my room naturally just gets lower during wintertime, that's when I see breeding between the king rats, the mad hogs, a false water cobra now this year is just something else where it's just a little bit cooler, and I get breeding from them. So the Asians don't really necessarily go through a hard brumation. Will that tactic change if I don't start getting success from, say, like the blue beauty snakes? Yeah, probably, because I figured out where I was going wrong with that is that you can't breed 2 females together. So now that I have a boy, once he's big enough, if they don't breed, then yeah, I'll probably start pushing them into the harsher side with the North American snakes. Okay. Yeah.
I often wondered how you did that.
It's a hard science of put boy in female cage and walk away. So
yeah, but like the timing, the temperature, you know, like how you know, are you writing this stuff down, or you just throw shit at the wall and see what
listen, do you want to the public? I'm throwing shit at the wall. Privately, I don't know. I might be writing shit down. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
I might have a very large Word document that tells me what day I should put things together and what temps things should be at. But a lot
you just give the illusion
of that I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, but a lot of it too is like I have a set plan, but the weather outside might not be cooperating, or the temps might not have gotten down. Like my North American colubrids, every night they get down into the 50s, if lower.
Okay. Right.
Just that's where that rack that they're in there puts all the animals that aren't in there. So that rack normally has like some Collier Brids and has some Asian stuff and it has my Madagascar. All that shit has to get out of there before I start dropping that temp, because I don't want the Madagascar stuff to go that low. It doesn't help. They just stop eating. They don't breed. It doesn't work. I got more success from, say, like the Blonde Hogs. I got more success from them by putting them in the rack system that was vacated by my male pythons, because they're in with the females.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm getting more success that way with those animals. Now, the Asian stuff, it just seems like they don't have as many triggers. I have this long list of temps and stuff that I kind of want to do with them, but I don't do it. It just like step 2. I'm like, yes, now we've dropped it this low. Oh, they're locked. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing things. Like it's
I think
cross this out. Like, and that's just where I'm at right now.
Just watching your snakes, right?
Well, yeah, and also like we talked about that last year. I talked to Rob last year. I'm like, are my king rats big enough? And he goes, yeah, give them a shot. I'm like, okay, chuck them together, and then I'm not monitoring them because I don't think they're gonna go. This is a shot in the dark, and then they double clutched, and I'm like, well, fuck. Like, I guess what did I do? Like, so yeah.
So what you're saying is my approach to diamond python breeding this year should pretend like
pretend you don't care. Pretend whatever. Yeah. Nah, it's heave them together. Just act like you don't want them, and then it happens, you know.
This would be so this was so back to the IJ. Yeah, so she comes out of her lay box for a couple hours a day to lay under the heat emitter. Yeah, I would say that's, in my opinion, if she's not normally doing that, but she hasn't done this at all this week at all.
I kind of feel like if you slice it down to like this week is different than last week, it's like it's a little bit of a stretch. Like if they are constantly, my animals will come out and bask right now because this is where the temps do their little fluctuating, but the temps do the fluctuating year round. So I will see my animals basking at certain points. Like when I go downstairs to for an AM check, when I go and turn on all the lights and check out everybody, they're all out laying underneath their heat panels. And that happens year round. It could be the middle of August, early morning, they're out checking stuff out.
Right.
Basking. Like that is just how that goes. They are set into that clock.
Okay.
So what I would say that the second something is not the normal is when you're kind of on the right track as far as eggs. Like I've always had a Woma that lost its damn mind every time I touched it. And then when it would not freak the hell out is when it was gravid. Yeah.
Owen talks like he just throws snakes around. Like that is, he's more methodical than he sounds. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, there's a deeper, there's a pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yes.
So yeah.
I play the crazy, you have to write everything down person on air.
And who's to say I don't have anything written down? How many times did we ever talk about that? If I ever bred white lips, I would just have I don't know, this happened, that happened in eggs. I have pictures and I have timestamps of when everything happened during that entire breeding because I was paying attention to them. King rats snuck up on me. I have nothing for them. Like it is.
Yeah, I would really pay attention, and over the years of breeding carpets, which we're looking at, what I guess we've been doing.
2010 was my first
10
one.
Years.
Yeah.
10 years. 10 years plus.
Yeah.
And they're pretty. I think they're pretty straightforward, right? There are species that I have not bred yet, so I think though that I'd be curious to see if this year, if the people on the West Coast or out west have and down south in Texas
have a better season
because of all the storms. By the way, just on a side note, there's a YouTube channel that gives the weather for the U.S. Game changer, man. Game changer. I never thought to look at the U.S. as the whole and watch the weather systems and the patterns and stuff. It's always like when you're watching your local weather, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then there's this guy, he does a YouTube channel. He's like a wannabe meteorologist, but he's really good. And anyway, he goes on and he'll give like these patterns that'll develop and whatever. But like, it geared me in and started me to think like, I'm curious to see if any of that weather has an effect on people's success or not having success, breeding.
I mean, it could, and it always seems like there's one side. There's always seems like there's one part of the country that has a better season than the other, just because of like what you said. We haven't had no big snowstorm this entire winter.
No,
like multi-day snow coming all over the place. We just had like a couple snow squalls and stuff like that. So
we haven't really had even. I mean, we've had a little bit of rain.
Yeah, but not that much. So that definitely hurts. Does that mean we're going to have a bunch of late clutches? Does that mean we're going to have a bunch of slug clutches? Does that mean we're not going to have that lot of breeding at all? I don't know. So we'll have to see how it plays out. So, yeah.
I'm not talking about zooming in and out of I know you can zoom in and out.
Ooh.
What I'm talking about is the guy actually gives.
Eric spends 4 hours a day monitoring all the weather throughout the entire United States to see if that is a good time to put his pythons together.
Here's a couple things. One, it helps with shipping. Right?
Okay.
It helps with shipping. That's the first thing.
Listen,
thing that pops into my head.
You ship like everybody else ships. You put the python in the box and you pray to God FedEx doesn't kill it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I thought, wow, this would be useful for people that are shipping. Not that you can't go and see it on their website or whatever, but I don't know. I'm just a visual person.
I hate shipping. I hate it so much.
We had -20. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Wow. Let's see. I heard something about an El Nino year.
Isn't that like every couple of years there's always one of those, and that messes up a lot of stuff?
Yeah, so the reason that this sticks out to me is because I'm going back to Nick when he was on Reptile Radio back in the day. And he had this one really shitty year breeding. And
moved to his new facility and shit like that. And he insulated the hell out of it. Oh,
he equated it to the El Nino.
Listen, like weather obviously affects them, even if they're not outside. And like you and I have always talked about how if there's a giant ass snowstorm, everything's locked. So when you don't have the snowstorm, that hurts. That hurts you.
Yeah.
Now, is it 100% you're not going to get eggs?
No. No. Yeah, I'm not saying that.
But is it a mark in the bad column? Yeah.
So I would say like this: if let's say you're trying to breed 10 clutches, right? And you have like a couple major storms in the wintertime.
That helps.
I think you're probably going to hit all 10 clutches.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And again, I'm just throwing out numbers like the cosmic octopus thing.
But
you have to hit 8 triggers.
Let's say it helps, but there could also be other reasons you don't get all 10. Like
it could be.
Yeah. It just might 100%. Be the animals at that point. It might be that this 100%. Thing didn't happen. And I think but it helps.
The temperature's not the way you think the temperature is, and you think they're in a warm spot of the room or the cold spot of the room when they're really not, and the temperature's going up and down. But I mean, with technology today, you can put those little temp sensors in your room and kind of get a feel for like what your room is. Whereas I think back in the day, we kind of like used the temp gun, but we're using it right then at that time. It's not like, or maybe we would go a couple times a day and go in and see what's going on. But I'm just saying, like, you see out in the Midwest, the crazy Texas and all the crazy weather that they had out in California. Remember that rain? Good Lord. I thought Lucas and Riley were going to
get swept down the river. Yeah. And that they might have it always seems like one half of the country does better than the other, depending on how it goes. It never is it that everybody throughout the entire US has a great season on carpets.
I wonder,
or pythons.
I wonder, here's a thought real quick, to just go back on what you're saying, right? If the weather is a factor in helping, right? Let's just say that you sort of don't pay attention to dropping your temps. Right. And you're sort of one of those breeders that approach it from, I'm an ambient temperature type of person. I don't really do anything. It's just wintertime. The temperature drops outside. I put them together and boom, right? And I have success. But maybe you're really relying more on the outside weather than you really think, right? Maybe they're being affected by that outside weather more than you think. And if you're doing anything else to simulate a breeding season,
Mhm.
maybe that's where people are not having success, because you will see people like, I'm sure, Owen, you're going to breed carpets this year, right?
We already talked about it. I might have 2 clutches on the way by March. Like
Correct.
it is. Yeah.
So clearly it's not something that's going to stop it from happening. But in your room, especially because of all the species that you're working with and different temp regimes and all this stuff, you're sort of like laser
The cosmic
focused
octopus that lives in my basement. Yeah.
Correct.
So,
You're sort of laser focused on making sure that parameters are hitting and whatever. So you're sort of like relying not so much on what's going on outside and more so what's going on in your room. So would it be crazy to think that if you're approaching it where you're not really worrying about so much what's going on in your room, or you're not relying on a light cycle or a food cycle, or maybe you're just relying on a food cycle, and maybe those food cycles work really well when it coincides with weather events, or
right.
I don't know. I'm sort of just spitballing ideas
here.
out
Well,
there.
I mean, we've talked about it. Like, how many times we talk about how this is how you breed bredli, and you could get a clutch of bredli by doing this. Are you going to get consistent? Probably not. Are you going to get them year after year? Probably not.
Right.
Are you going to run into some? Yes. Now, who's to say that the years that you run into some isn't the year that you have an insanely harsh winter? So the room itself gets a little bit colder than you originally anticipated, or that affects the animals. So there's that whole thing. Like, I don't know how that's going to plug in. And the whole point is just trying to recreate the lightning in the bottle. With my stuff is I focus on the harder to breed species, because the other stuff is going to go with very minimal effort.
Right.
You can breed a carpet python while attempting to breed a white lip. Like, you fuck with the attempts to try to get the white lips to breed, and along the way the carpets drop eggs. Right. So
yeah, that's true.
That's how that one goes. So
right. Okay.
We're starting to get to that point now where you can breed an olive python while you're fucking around with a white lip. You can breed a gold white lip while you're fucking around with a white lip. Now it's while you're fucking around with a Timor python, you can breed a white lip. So it's kind of how that goes. Will I be making super caramel tigers this year? Yes, I am gonna try.
I want one of them.
I have a caramel tiger that I produced, and then I just got 2 days ago from Travis at Living Legless. I got hit a caramel M-Pen striped male that is just gorgeous. And those two are going to go together. So I do have a chance at super caramel tigers. They will be mine. Nobody else can have them. Well, Eric can, because rules. But yes,
damn rules.
Damn rules.
Contract page 62.
Yes. So, but in the next couple of years is we're going to start getting into the nice stuff when it comes to tigers.
Yeah,
I got too many tigers growing up. I am going to have red tigers this year. Really nice Hopefully red tiger I got from Balin, and then the tiger I got from you. So,
which one?
The Ted Thompson.
Ted Thompson.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a nice one.
Yep,
that's a nice one. Is she still mean?
She's evil as sin. Like, she's horrible.
That was the one carpet I had. Like, we would be saying like, yeah, carpets are chill or whatever.
Not this bitch.
There's one in your collection. That was her.
That's her. She would come for me. That she's the one who would eat while she was maternally incubating, because she would come for me and I'd be like, rat. Like, it is just, yeah, she is just she's a fun animal. But
oh wow, he's
super hypos,
super hypo tigers. Yeah. That's nice, man.
Those will be nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, and she's on the list of things to be ultrasound. My caramel het Exanic Jaguar was bred to my caramel het Exanic male. Yep.
Talking ball python, talk to me, bro. What?
I know. I'm making the diet Dr. Ghosts is what's happening here. So,
all right, man. See you later. Oh yeah, Jason's got a Leary mutton caramel tiger jag to a mutton caramel. Nice.
My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna see some cool stuff.
We're gonna start getting into it where we're gonna start seeing things, and it's gonna take us a couple years, but in the next couple years, I imagine we're gonna start getting the same level of hypo and Exanic and Ghost that you see in Australia because they've had all those. Like, it's just gonna take some refinement, but we're gonna get there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I think the advantage that they have though is they have that when we talk about selective breeding, they have that other animal that is more refined, prettier, different.
Well, they've also had it
pool of genetics that they can pull from the watt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But they've also had it for years for working at it. I mean,
But
I mean, can you imagine what a really nice ghost tiger is going to look like when we get down that road? Yeah, I'm talking like prime caramel, prime Exanic, mix them together and then get really nice stripes. Or I'm sorry, prime hypo. You get a really nice hypo tiger and you get a really nice Exanic tiger because they're out here. We just got to get them together.
Yeah, that's going to be fabulous.
Give it a couple years. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I would gear that towards. For some reason, I know this. I've often disagreed with this with Nick, but he used to say, like, why would you breed an Exanic to a tiger that has more yellow in it, or a coastal that has more yellow in it? Because Exanic is trying to take away the yellow.
So I'm trying to avoid the red.
Right. So, but for me is that if you look at I know maybe you don't know what this looks like, but if you look at like an Exanic pastel or Exanic pastel soup or Exanic super pastel ball python, they just glowed differently. You know, I don't. They had like a glow. Yeah, we do need more striped jungles. That's for sure. Hopefully, Riley has. He's got a clutch he's working on. So
I would prefer that kind of like and. This is something I was talking to Melissa about. I'm like, Eric has Exanic double het granites. And I'm like, do I want to dip into my toe into that pool and see what's going on over there? And she's like, why? I'm like, I like granites and I like Exanic, but not coastal Exanic. I don't know. Also, if I get them to breed, I can get everybody to shut the fuck up about breeding green breeding IJs. That's the real reason. So
no. Yeah, man. I mean, I think I think when I first saw the Exanic granite, I would say at the time, and this was probably before the Silver Prepper was out and about, it's probably one of my favorite carpet python morphs.
It is. It's a killer pattern. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, Sean Carroll's animals. Good God. Yeah, he has some beautiful. That's what I'm talking about, right? They have more of more years of selective breeding and such that, that
give it some time. I mean, we have better tigers than they do.
So. I'm trying to make striped ivory coastals tigers.
Oh, you're trying to get back to like the bone white kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Robert is sticking with things with legs because heat, food, water equals eggs. But the problem is that that's true.
And then it just doesn't stop. And then you have to deal with like babies every 5 weeks. Like, no.
I think when I saw Lucas and all his Aki babies, I was like, I'm not breeding them. I wouldn't have time to do that, man. There's no way.
If you're going to set up Aki's or some other dwarf monitor, you have to have a way to get rid of those suckers. Like, because just the amount of babies is insane.
I mean, I love my monitors, but I don't see me adding any other.
No,
other monitors.
I'm done. Yeah. If it's not a snake, it ain't coming to my house. Nope, we're done.
I do really like the Kimberly Rocks. They're my favorite for sure. They're like a mini
retirement monitor.
To me they're like a mini. They look more like the head structure and the neck structure, and just the whole body structure. They look like a tiny Parenti. And the Parenti to me is like the ultimate monitor. I mean, there's no screw Komodo dragons. It's like to me, comparing a Komodo dragon to a Parenti is like comparing an alligator to a crocodile. An alligator, yes, when you're looking at the alligator is cool. I'm not an alligator hater. I'm an alligator lover. However, they look like frog with teeth, right? They don't really look like.
It's not a saltwater crocodile that can rip your head off. Like, oh, dude, my God. Yeah.
Remember when that saltwater crocodile swam right next to us and their jaw was literally like this to our faces? We were kind of like, okay.
Thank God there's plexiglass here. Yeah,
exactly. But like, if an alligator swam up, I'm gonna be nervous, but like not as nervous as no. So to me, that's the difference between a Komodo dragon and a
Komodo dragons are just like, they're huge, but like Parentis are gorgeous. Like they have pattern. They have, Komodo dragon is just a big killing machine. Like it's like, yeah.
They're and they got their back pattern. You can see where the Aboriginals got their inspiration for their art and everything with the dots and they're just beautiful.
You're comparing a monster truck to a Mustang. It's like
and I remember, I think I was like really like, I saw when I went up to see Roberts, he had him in this big huge back wall built cage thing, and they're just running all around the place, and I'm just like, oh man. Whereas like with the Ackies, they're more like, I don't know, my experience, I guess they're more flighty, right? They're more bitey. They definitely bite more for sure, which Rob told me as well, but well, what are you gonna do? I learned the hard way.
Oh my God, if only Rob would just tell us these things beforehand before we do the thing.
Rob.
Yeah, God damn it, Rob. Why don't you ever come out beforehand?
It's like he studied my psyche or something, and he's like, yeah, that's not going to work for you, bro.
Dude. I just love now where we talk into just how many animals I have now, and I just see him just do this.
Yes.
Like slow, disappointed dad head shake. And I'm like, oh.
I don't think it's disappointed. I think the thing is like he me and him have a hard time processing how you do it.
I don't sleep. I do a lot of cocaine. So
okay, fair enough.
Yeah. It takes up a lot of time, dude. I mean, we've talked about it, where it's like your normal reptile chores now extend to multiple days a week. It's not like used to be. Wednesdays you go down, you clean, and then I don't have to do anything. I might pop in and check everybody out. Now it's like I usually have some sort of reptile chore to do at least once a day. Like it's cleaning, or right now everything's slow because everything's nothing's eating, and I have to go down every other week and feed the babies, and I have to make sure everybody has fresh water.
Right.
But summertime, you're constantly down there cleaning, and you gotta almost stagger it so that you can do babies one day, you do adults the other day, you do waters the third day. Then by the time you're done with the waters, it's time to check to make sure babies have flooded their cages or shit all over the place. And then if you still have non-feeders, you got to work with those, and they have stuff kind of hatching, so you got to watch for that. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Did you see that? Do you see that crazy carpet? Let me see if I can share this. Window. Yeah, here we go. Did you see that thing? Isn't that cool?
Where's that from?
Australia.
Of course.
Right.
And now you're going to tell me it's got no jaguar blood in it whatsoever.
No, I don't think it does.
Weird.
It was a caramel. So it's from Red's Reptiles.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me see. I want to say it was. Doesn't give me the info though.
Tell me what you are. All right. So it definitely not a jag.
I think for some reason I think it was caramel albino. Caramel albino to something like that.
It's a mix of a bunch of things. It's cool. It's got a really, really reduced pattern. All it really has is some kind of stripes going down the neck, and then what I would assume
that's caramel.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it looks kind of caramel-like. But I mean, it also just has the kind of side saddles that you would see
in
like a Tiger Jag. Yeah. Really nice bald back, and there aren't that many saddles. It's a very reduced pattern.
I kind of like how this is like all stripe.
Yeah, and then it just breaks up
right down the neck.
Yeah. Like I said, Tiger Jag almost.
So, yeah. 100%.
It reminds me a lot of the Super Tiger Jags that it was like really just a Tiger Jag that they crossed with a tiger.
There was a crazy there was a crazy Imbricata that had a similar look to that.
Weird.
But yeah. Yep.
You always hatch out the weird ones hatch out, man.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it multiple times where that's one of the cool things about the whole carpet thing. You know, every once in a while you're gonna have crazy ones
something weird
pop out.
Yeah.
And you can either choose if you're gonna, kind of run with it, or you're gonna, not run with it, or whatever the case would be. But
yeah, I mean, I think I'd be more bored if it was like every year the clutch hatched and it was like, great, they look just like their mom. Like it would kind of be annoying, I think, after a certain point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I was seeing. Oh, this is what I wanted to share. I found it interesting that so I think Michael Pinnell posted this up. And I wanted to see if you see the same thing that I'm seeing. So here's this. So we're talking about red coastals and whatnot, and the first pick. So this pick is from Michael Pinnell's line.
Okay.
Right? It's not an MBB. And then the second pick is an MBB. Right. The one thing I noticed is look at this. Look at the size of that head.
Can you get the pictures a little bit bigger? Yeah.
I don't know. Instagram, I don't think you can.
Damn it.
Man. Let me see. Let me do a thing.
I think I've seen these though, so I can know what you're talking about. So it's Michael Pennell's stuff, and they're definitely a larger, or at least a longer head on the first one. Kind of like it looks almost.
It looked that way, right?
Snout, yeah. So
okay, I thought maybe I was a little crazy or something.
But I mean, probably, but I join you on the crazy side. But
yeah, right.
That always seems like that happens where every once in a while you get a carpet that has just a longer face than some of the other carpets. And that's his line of red stuff, right? Is what you said?
Yeah, and the reason I was curious if you saw the same thing is because he used to have, where is it? Pythons in a pear tree. There we go. Let's see. Yeah. Here, I'll probably be able to get better picks. Maybe not.
We'll see. Yeah, you got it.
There we go.
Okay, so that's the MBB.
Yeah, that's an MBB.
Okay. And that's his line.
That is his line. I swear that head is a Sylvester line coastal head.
I mean, the head looks like a goddamn.
Looks long, right?
Yeah. Looks like a freaking Brisbane. Kind of like that long. That is a long snout.
So I wonder if baby coastal carpets have that same type of head structure to why their heads are so big.
I mean, I have a weird pair right now of reds. They're both MBBs. The male developed normal. The female is doing that small head bullshit where like the rest of her's growing, but her head isn't. And I'm like, will you get bigger? Like, so you don't look so goddamn stupid. Like it is. But that's just the way she's built. And we've had, like, I've had those animals, you've had those animals where it's like their head just looks small on their body. And there's no explaining it. Like they eat, and I've had ones where they have those huge, like the head muscles like behind the jaw are massive, but then it just tapers down to a very small snout, almost like an arrowhead.
Right.
I've had that too. So every animal's weird. None of them are the same.
So here's one of his Brisbanes, just as a reference.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's got different patterns in his Brisbanes.
Right?
Yeah. That's dark.
It almost looks like Brisbane we saw in Brisbane.
Weird.
Like
it's almost like it's the snake from where we said it was from. Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Their heads are wider, right?
My male's head is huge. Yeah.
Right? Their jaw muscles are like real pronounced.
I dislike every time my male bites me. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not fun. Yeah.
So there we go.
Cool.
Anyway. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay. Let's see. So I guess we will wait a minute. What's it say? Right click, inspect. Oh.
No, don't worry. Yeah.
Already passed.
It's too late for that.
Did have let me just pull it up. Let me get my show notes and let's see what we have. So we did have a question come in. I see this was from Rachel. She sent us an email, and I thought it would be cool that we hit on this. And then I got a carpet to share, and then I guess we can wrap it up. But
cool.
I've been seeing a bunch of stuff about temps and how we are keeping carpets too hot, quote unquote. Okay. Can you guys elaborate on that? Are your hot spots too hot? Ambient temps too hot? Not enough temp gradient in the cage?
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts?
I read somewhere that I read somewhere that at one point, one place in Darwin gets over 100 degrees. So I keep my carpets at 110 degrees with with a cool spot of 120. So
wait a minute.
What?
Disregard that last
disregard. I think that's the problem, is that we can sit here and we're trying to figure out what is a good temperature that these animals need to bask at, where in the wild, they're emerging from shelter to quick heat up and then get the fuck out of there because either it's too hot, they're exposed, or everything else. Like, these are animals that we will not see active until it actually gets cool enough for them to go out. So I think the entire herpetoculture is bent towards heating the animal up to a certain temp, where in the wild, the animal is waiting to cool down to a certain temp. So I set my hotspots at about 84 degrees, 85 maybe. Okay. And it is a gradual ramp up to its apex around noon. So I have the herp stats that you can set ramping time and temperature time. So it ramps all the way up. It takes about 4 or 5 hours for it to, from 8 a.m. to go all the way up to 85. And that's when I see my guys out, is in the morning. Now, if I come down at noon when it's the hottest point at 85, maybe 1 or 2 animals are still out. Everybody else is usually inside their box, or they're cruising around the cage, or they're doing something else. So that's where that goes. Now at noon, it will kind of hold there until 8 o'clock at night when it tapers down. So when the lights go off, everything starts tapering down to 72 at night. Do I have a cool spot where it's like on the side where it's not near the heat? Yeah, I have that. And that's what the room temp is, was just 72. But it drops down, and that's when you see the activity. So you come in the snake room at night, you turn on the light, everybody's out, everybody's moving, everybody's doing whatever. So that's what I do, is I use the herp stats and I use the temp swings to kind of have that. Now, during breeding season, does the temperature get all the way up to 85? Nah, it usually stops about 83, 84. But the low points will go further. So we go kind of, it's still set to be like 70, 72, but in summertime, the room never gets to 72 degrees at nighttime. Like, they never have to experience that. So we're almost at that point now where I don't really need to muck up with computer systems when I'm going into winter. The room will just drop down that low for me. So I already have it set. So now it just kind of goes. The only thing I have to do is make sure that the temperature rises back up like right now. If I start warming everybody, what I'm saying by warming is I'm starting to increase the nighttime temps because it's still cold outside.
Right.
So I'm going to start feeding my animals, and I have to make sure that the nighttime temps kind of push up until the weather outside gets warm enough that I don't have to worry about it. So, but I would say definitely animals are kept a lot hotter than they should be, but there's kind of ways around that one.
I think, okay, so this is how, okay, all right. And
like I said,
right there with
so
you.
Everyone is aware, just because I said the temps are set for 72, it doesn't mean that it gets to 72 every night. Like that's just where it's at.
So here's my thoughts on like when I'll tell you what I do, but like my thoughts have kind of changed over years, and it really depends on what you're doing and what you're using, and all those type of things come into play with me when I think about temperatures. But I think what carpet people are talking about when you hear them say that we are keeping our carpets too hot. When I first got into carpets, there was this idea that you wanted to have a 90-degree hotspot, an 85-degree ambient,
right?
Because it just seems like our focus with reptiles has always been about making sure that they don't get too cold,
right?
And I think, at least what I've learned over the past 10 years, is that the idea of them being too cold is not, I mean, it's not as harmful and cannot cause damage as quickly as something being kept too hot. Right? You know, if I think that especially with carpet pythons, they're geared to be able to take a little bit of cold. Now that's not to say that if you have them at 30 degrees that they're somehow good. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, so, you know, the approach in the early days was always about, you know, having this 90-degree hotspot, you know, and, you know, like I said, 85-degree ambient. And then there was a train of thought where all of a sudden, I remember I was talking with Luke Snell. I went up to his house and he was saying about, I think with him, what had happened is he started to delve into the world of green trees. And when he was delving into green trees, they focus more on ambient temperatures, right? You know, some people have coined it the Terry Phillip method. Really, the Barkers were probably the ones that did it before them. I think Ryan Young keeps this way. There's a lot of debate on whether it's right or wrong or whatever, but I think with, you know, Terry's idea is that he's keeping a lot similar to you, Owen. Like his approach is the way it is because of what he's doing, right? He's keeping a large amount of species in one spot, and he's trying to make it streamlined so that he can make sure that everybody is where they're supposed to be. So the thought is that snakes, when they're basking, their internal temperature they're trying to hit is somewhere around like 82 to 84 or something like that.
Right.
So Luke started to lower the temperatures on his carpet pythons. So he's saying that he was having great success with it. And obviously you're not paying for as much electricity. You know what I mean? You just all these things. You're not wearing out your equipment, all this stuff. You're not having a room that's like, you know, if you have a room with a bunch of snakes and they all have a 90-degree hotspot, it's gonna get freaking.
It's gonna hot as shit. Like, you know? the snakes themselves,
the room itself is going to be hotter. You know,
the heat panels themselves are going to give up so much heat that you don't really have to monitor. Like my panels in the summertime rarely even have to turn on, depending on what's going on. They turn on, the whole room gets so hot. It's not that much, or even just that because it's just naturally how the room increases, it doesn't have to go that far. It's not doing that much. So
I think what carpet python people started to realize is that instead of having, there was this group of people, you know, that were sticking to this ambient temperature where they pretty much kept their rooms between, say, 78 at night 82 during the day, right? They had a space heater and some fans blowing all around the room. It sort of kept it at this even temperature that kind of fluctuated very little, right? And I think especially for a species like chondros, where they're so close to the border, they don't really have like temp fluctuation like we think of, right? As opposed to like a diamond python. It's just a completely different thing, right? So I started keeping them like that, and I noticed that my animals were acting differently, and I have always been in range to where, and we've talked about it on the show for a long time about how we've sort of changed our temperatures to this like, I think the hot spot similar to what Owen said at the beginning, 85, and then you have some people turn their heat off at night, some people don't, some people think that the sun goes down at night, so naturally it's going to cool off. The sun turns off, if you will, right? So they're approaching like their room as like turning the sun off, if you can even try to recreate that in a room. But so there's that, right? So that's where this idea came that we were keeping carpet pythons way too hot in the early days, right?
And I would say by doing the fluctuation in the temperatures as well, where it's not like a hot spot that's on constantly, you get more motion. The animals move, they do more stuff. It's not just this fat, lazy thing that just sits underneath its heat spot all the time, which is so much better when it comes down to a lot of things.
So I think for me, when I was keeping, for lack of a better word, let's say simplistic, right?
Yeah.
I'm keeping breeder style, very simplistic, paper hide box, water bowl, simplistic stuff. When I'm doing it that way, and if that's the way you're doing it to breed, I think that it's probably a good idea to have an 85 hotspot that ramps a little bit up and down, and then you want the ambient to be, maybe it's 80 during the day, drops down to 78. That doesn't mean if it goes to 76 that the world is going.
The world is ending and all the animals are going to die.
It doesn't mean that, right? But we're talking about a range type of thing,
right? And again, like I don't think necessarily my room gets as low as 72 unless it's during winter. So I have it set there, but that's more of like a safety net as opposed to something that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, and I think now that, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? The idea of how we keep snakes is evolving. It seems like more so than I've seen in, like, say, in the last maybe year and a half, 2 years. I've seen more evolution in trying to really dial in what's going on more so than how we approached it, say, in the earlier days, in the 2010 and stuff like that, where what we did worked
and you didn't do anything else. Yeah,
and we didn't change it. There was no need to change it because everything was dialed in, and you hear today people going back and forth or whatever about the whole whether or not just the debate on keeping snakes in general, right? Anyway, yeah, let's not get into that. But anyway,
let's avoid that like the plague. But go ahead. There's been more changes. There's been more stuff where it's like, and like what you said earlier, where it's like, yeah, we could keep them at this insanely hot degree, but then it's like, all right, well, are we burning them out? Are we burning our computer systems out? Are we burning our heat systems out? Are we like it used to be the whole thing of you have to replace your heat tape like every so often because the thing was constantly freaking running, like, and that's not good.
I guess what I was trying to say, now I'm getting my thoughts together again. It's like, I think our more minimalistic approach to keeping carpet pythons sort of led us to sort of have very specific parameters. Now it seems that cages are getting bigger, equipment's getting better, things that weren't possible before are now possible with UV
or we're
light,
expensive
or with
as shit, and
radiant heat emitters or heat projectors or whatever. Again, it's just, I was going to say they're now.
How would you know, Scott?
Yeah.
There might be some man that follows them around with a heat bulb and makes sure that every snake is perfectly well. Come on.
So what I'm trying to do now that we continue to evolve and whatnot,
Right.
is that I'm moving towards carpets having a basking spot with an actual hot spot, right?
Right.
To where, like, my diamond pythons. So again, I'm going against what I was sort of saying, but it depends on what species you're keeping, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, they have a 95-degree hot spot. The difference is that they only have that for a certain amount of hours a day.
Right.
They'll come out and they'll utilize, and it's off, right?
But
Now
that I think is the
lower ambient with a higher hotspot.
But that's the most realistic, because if the sun comes out and there's one beam of light that is hitting this one spot, then the snake comes out, curls up under that one spot until it's warm enough, and then goes. So that beam of light, that hot spot, like it could get hotter than 84 degrees because it's a concentrated kind of a thing, like depending on where they're at. It just means that they're going to sit there for a less amount of time and then they're gone. And they have that problem when it comes to monitors, where if you have a spotlight hotspot for a monitor, they'll stay under that until they get burned. That's why they talk about spreading out the hotspot enough so they can actually warm up.
Yeah, I think I was looking at this too. I think Pedrick was right. I mean, all of his pop ones in the room stay between 69 and 75 all the time, and they're more active at lower temps. Yeah, 100%. The one thing I noticed too is, like, especially when I was keeping younger ones and I had that hot, like if they're in, say, I don't know, let's say they're in a, what would it be, a 32 quart tub or something like that. So like, this type of long tub. Hotspot would be 90. I have a heater running in the room, 80 degrees or whatever it would be.
You're sweating buckets every time you're in there cleaning.
Yeah, 100%. The snakes would always be pushed up against the front of the tub, always against the front of the tub or in the water bowl or whatever. And I said this when I was talking with Luke, and he's like, yeah, that's why I think we're keeping them too hot. So as soon as I adjusted those temperatures, that behavior stopped. So that to me told me right then that they were trying to get away from the heat, right?
Yeah.
Because then it would be like, and it's also the time frame of what we used to keep, right? It would be, what do we keep? 12 and 12. So like 12 heat on, 12 heat
12
off.
Heat off,
like that, you know what I mean? So it's like 12 hours of unrelenting heat. Is it even cooling down enough by the time they
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm starting to work it with the rack systems. It's like you can tell when an animal gets too big for a rack because it's constantly pressed into one area or the other. Like it needs the gradient. So I'm starting to get with my bigger guys, like my adult carpets that are in the rack, even they have night drops. Just because they're in the rack doesn't mean that they get constant freaking heat. So yeah. We've talked about this before. I'd much rather ship in cool weather than hot as balls weather. Right. You're more in danger of killing your snake with heat than you are with cool.
Yeah. Hold on one sec.
So
he wanted to add something.
Scott, well, poor. Well, here we go. So, and yeah, but there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. But I definitely think it was something that we were doing, and now we've kind of moved away. Is keeping, and I wouldn't just say carpets. I would just say pythons or even just reptiles too hot.
Yeah,
I want to peg it to just carpets. I mean, I had other pythons I think I was keeping too hot.
Yeah, I would agree. I kind of think that that it just goes back to that same thing. And then being in the wild, right?
Yeah.
And like you think about it, right? During the day when it's think of all the places. Think of the Northern Territory. We're in the Northern Territory.
During the day.
It's 100 degrees.
Right. And
what do you see?
Like, they're not snakes laying all over the place. Like
nothing.
You find them in crammed underneath a rock where it's 70 degrees. Like you don't see anything until the sun goes down. Like that is the point. They're up and they are warm before the sun's even fully risen. And then they're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, no.
Yeah. So, I think herping definitely changed
It helps.
my mindset on that. Right. And that's why I'm such a proponent and I preach all the time. Like, if you want to really learn about, you don't even necessarily have to go to, I mean, you could learn that from herping here in the US or herping in your backyard or whatever. Just by like going out. When do you see snakes? You see snakes when it's cooler
nighttime
out,
or when it's cooler. But
when the temperature drops, when the temperature is up, they're hiding, right?
Like, it's almost like there's a thing where people research, and it was like, well, the animals from here, and the daytime recorded temps for this place are this, and the nighttime is this. It's like, okay, but that book that you're reading or you're getting this information was written way back when. Like, you should take account of what people have, the temperatures that the people have found the animals at. And the problem is that it's not going to be a solid, they must reach X temp by day or they must reach X temp by night. It's going to be a gradient, and people can't fathom that. It is never going to be a perfect, well, you go in downstairs, you turn the dial until it says 84, and then you walk away. And that's not what's going to happen.
I think the thing that people forget too is sort of like I was saying. I mean, snakes could be individualistic to a certain extent, I suppose. And like, I've seen snakes where they're always on the hot spot or they're always away from the hot spot. To me, that's sort of behaviors that I'm looking at to see whether or not I need to adjust anything. If here's another thing, right? Like, if I see, like, especially during the winter here in the Northeast, if I see a carpet has sort of I don't want to say a bad shed, because they usually don't have a bad shed. We got the wish hyper.
What'd you do? Now what did you do?
We did it.
Yep.
How are you going, fellas?
What did we get wrong? Go.
Yeah, what? Tell us what we did.
No. So it's a comment, right? So a couple of things. Basking sites are fucking rubbish for lots of things.
Okay.
Right. So what you need to work out is whether or not the species is a thermal conformer, or whether it's an animal that exhibits active thermoregulation, right? So to put everything under the one fucking basket, that's where people go wrong. It's the same thing with rat keeping. If you go, all right, everything's going to be magically heated to the same fucking temperature, and yet it lives all over the globe, it doesn't fucking work that way. Right? So you need to look at every species that you're keeping and then apply the appropriate heating strategy for that animal. That's just basic fucking husbandry 101. And that's why people that have small collections or keep the one species tend to do really well, as opposed to people that keep lots and lots of fucking various shit, right? Because if they're keeping lots and lots of various stuff and they're trying to make everything fit to the same parameters, and it doesn't fucking work. And I suppose it's one of the reasons why we've significantly reduced what we're keeping in regards to pythons and stuff like that, because the pythons that we're keeping for the most part now are stuff that we can keep outside. Okay, and if we can keep it outside, and those animals are looking better than they ever have. They look heaps better outside than they ever do inside, right? And I don't think it's like the death of 1,000 cuts, right? I don't think it's one single thing that makes them better. It's all those things combined that makes a difference. It's the fact that they've got UV, the fact that they're getting not just infrared B radiation, right, and A radiation, but they're also getting C. They're getting all those different sorts of heating, but they're getting all those other sorts of UV exposure as well that you just don't get in a box that you keep in your fucking tank room. So I suppose the other thing too, right, is that walk outside and temp gun a rock in your backyard, right? And look at the temperature change in that rock over the day. It doesn't just get up to X at 6 o'clock in the morning and stays at that temperature all fucking day, right? You have cloud cover come over, you've got rain come over and all the rest of it. So you've got things that are going up and down and up and down and up and down. And so what we've tried to do is we've tried to simulate that a little bit more. So we've actually got our supplemental heating in the room comes on for a few hours at a time and then goes off for a few hours at a time. and we move that around. So, and we're finding that the animals sort of learn when the heating's coming on anyway, and that they will position themselves over the heating sources, 15, 20 minutes before the heat comes on, so to speak. So every now and then we mix it up again, and then we change it around. And it's a form of enrichment, but then also too, it's a more natural style of heating, I suppose.
Yeah, it helps with that kind of stuff. It gets them moving and thinking, which is good.
Yeah. So I suppose the other thing too to remember is that your hotspot that you have in a cage doesn't ever shift, whereas in the wild it shifts all day. Right, the sun starts at, it rises in the east, sets in the west. So rocks that don't have any heat in the morning have lots of heat in the afternoon, and vice versa.
Right.
So if you're dealing with an animal that's nocturnal that chooses where it's going to stay for the night, does it stay in a place that's going to be warm in the morning, or does it pick up where the last amount of heat was in the afternoon and stay in those shelter sites? So it gets warmed up just before its activity period. So that snake is ready to go at operating temperature the minute that the lights go out, so to speak. Should we be we're not getting a lot more radiant heat coming off at night. So do we have things like radiant heat projectors that should be producing heat at night? Or are we better off letting things cool down to an ambient point over the evening as well? All of those things need to be factored in, and no answer's right, because no answer fits all.
Yeah. There's not going to be 100% magical answer to this. It's going to be what works for you and what works for the animal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, though, and it's also too, that's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the interesting part of this, is that we get to tinker and we get to play, and we go, well, let's see if we can do this to make it a little bit better.
That works.
There's no harm in changing your ideas, and changing your opinion. So.
Scott,
anyway,
I got a question for you real quick. Do you find that is it possible that, especially with snakes, right? Can they be individualistic in as far as one?
Do they have individual preferences?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you observed that? Is that?
Well, they've got physiological requirements, right?
Right.
Which is different to individual preferences, right? But certainly there's individual preferences. All right, and I'll give you an example of that, is that where you've got certain snakes that like to eat rats and certain snakes that like to eat mice.
Right.
And you've got no explanation why that animal's a fucking mouse or a ratter. It's food. You should eat this. You're designed to eat it. But there is a fucking different preference for some snakes to eat a certain food type. I've got fucking taipans that prefer to eat dark coloured mice, and they'll fuck around with them if I don't give them a dark mouse or a dark rat. Painful fucking things I can do. But honestly, have you guys seen that as well?
There's always that one. Yeah. Every once in a while, you get one that just wants either a dark mouse, a light mouse, or I have my albino is a mouser. He's been a mouser his entire life, and I'm just now getting him big enough to breed some of the girls. And I think he's 7 at this point now, or something like that. He's a little bit older. But
did that kill you?
Slowly.
Did that kill you to have a normal sized snake at a normal growth rate?
Whoa, now I mean,
Ouch.
Ow.
Come on, you got to admit that wasn't a bad thing.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was
good.
Fuck, you set yourself up for that too.
I did. That was gruesome.
You walked straight into that. That's like a bulldog walking into the back of a park fucking car. That was just straight in.
This is. I'm not. I was not prepared for Scott Eiper time. I have to mentally train before he shows up.
Oh, look, I've been nice to you. I haven't really fucking had a go. And if you're gonna slap one straight into me, mate, I'm not gonna.
If I'm gonna swerve it off, all right, yeah.
But But yeah, look, I suppose that's the other thing too, right? I mean, imagine how many fucking times do you guys also find a snake that goes, "Oh, fuck you, I only want to eat it an hour after dark" or some shit like that?
Yeah.
You know, you've got other snakes that'll come out of the same clutch, and you're like, you just drop a mouse, and by the time you're starting to, you walk into the room with the fucking rodents, the snakes are like, I'll eat, and you know they're going to smash it. But then there's others that you just know that's just going to be a fucking war, and it's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, they're going to hide from it until you.
And they're always the pretty ones.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, always
the pretty one.
Never the ugly. Ugly one's the first one to eat, first one to breed. Yep.
But I've got a theory on that, right? So fuck them. I breed them for food. I want them to smash food because you know what? A pretty one will come along in the clutch.
Eventually, we'll get to a pretty one. Okay.
We'll get to a pretty one, and we'll have a pretty one that smashes food.
It's training. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. You know,
get the vicious genes in there.
Oh yeah, I don't want vicious. I just want really good food response. You know, I don't particularly like being chased around the room when I open a fucking door. So fucking sucks. It's not fun. people who think that's fun, well, you know, it's not too bad really at the end of the day, but it's just the consequences of mistake are a little bit higher, I suppose. In my
I just bleed. There are other things that you have to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I bleed too. There's that. I bleed.
That's
not a robot.
That's the low part of what you got to be concerned about there. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's all good. That's all good. So, alrighty. Well, no, that was basically what I wanted to say was that you can't just restrict yourself to one school of thinking. And I've actually thought about what it would be like if I set up 2 basking spots or 3 basking spots in an enclosure.
Yeah.
Right. And put them on a timer. And so have a basking light that comes on in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And then have it go off at, I don't know, fucking 10 o'clock, right? And then have another basking site in the central part of the enclosure with a bigger globe.
Yes.
Produce a little bit more heat and a bit more to it, and have that go on from like 10 o'clock to say 2:30, 3, and then have another basking spot on the other side of the enclosure that is considerably weaker, right? And have that come on from 3 to 6 in the afternoon, right? Yeah. But then randomly fucking break it up so some days one of the lights doesn't come on.
I mean, that'd be the closest to some kind of naturalistic kind of thing I could think about. It's like, because then you're mimicking the sun, but then you're also mimicking where there is cloud cover or there's a storm or other stuff like that. Like, I think that would be awesome.
So that's sort of where I'm. Well, see, the thing is, though, right? It's not actually that. You know what? It's not that hard to do.
No, it's timers and bulbs. Yeah.
Right. So that's literally if you had three bulb setups, right? And they were producing infrared radiation, so infrared IRA type globes, right? And then you have a Jungle Dawn or a Fluval Aqua Sky LED bar that goes in there as well.
Yeah.
Right. So the LED bar, Aqua Sky bar thing is going to give you your ambient lighting in the enclosure, right? You use an Arcadia linear T5 tube that will give you UV output, right? And that might come on only in the central part of the day, right? And that'll give you UV output. And then you have these 3 heat bulbs, right? Now, most of those timer systems that you use these days can work for a week. So you can program them over a week. So you might turn around and go, I've got it at my place with our thunderstorms. We have a thunderstorm from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock on a Monday and on a Sunday, right? So there's a thunderstorm in the room, right? Okay. And that produces lightning and fucking all sorts of shit, right? And we do that after dark because we want it to sort of give more effect. And that just happens to be the times that in southeast Queensland, we tend to get storms in the late afternoon, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
So that was the plan. So it hopefully the storms sort of marry up with a low pressure system rolling through in the afternoon, and you get this sort of craziness in the enclosures from all the animals. And it works a fucking treat. What you could be doing is doing exactly the same thing. So you've got your light change with the Fluval. You've got your UV output from the Arcadia, and then you've got your 3 basking spots. And then you might just turn around and go, right, on Wednesdays, Sundays, and Mondays, there's going to be no heating during the middle of the day. And what that means is that it's effectively like a big cloud's come over. There's no lighting, there's no heat lighting being produced, and you can actually link that into your Fluval and drop the light output on that Fluval during that time period as well. So the whole enclosure sort of goes dark, and then it brightens back up again in the afternoon when the sun comes out from behind the clouds.
That's so cool.
It sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is, and it probably takes 10 or 15 minutes to set up your systems like that. But once it's set up. You don't ever have to do it again.
So you got to do it once, and then it's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, and then you can also look at it off your phone as well, and you can go overrides and shit like that. So if you really wanted to mix things up every now and then, or alternatively, you've got a snowstorm front coming through, right? Oh, fuck it. Right. Lightning mode it is. Bang, done.
Right.
Good luck, guys.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, you guys have got that air. When you have that snowstorm come through, you get that drop in air pressure, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the whole point.
Right? Your enclosures are still warm, but you've got that drop in air pressure. So what the snakes are usually used to seeing would be a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Not fucking snow. You know? So, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's always worth, just think outside the box and give it a crack. See what else is out there.
You got my mind spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, let's build a giant diamond enclosure in your room. You don't need a desk. Yeah.
It doesn't. You know what? The crazy thing is, though, right? Is it sounds like it'd cost a lot of money, but the way the technology's changed, not going to cost a lot these days.
It's getting cheaper.
I bet you could even set up a shortcut, right? An Apple shortcut on your phone that you could have it linked to hit that Bluetooth accessory to come on when it looks at the weather when a snow, like when a front is coming,
when it says that the front's coming through.
Drops, yeah, I bet you could. So you don't even
you
have
can
to do
that now. Well, I do that now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm already doing that, and I've got a fucking Android. So I have and it literally just fucking flashed up on my screen, right? I've got a notification system that it looks at the weather, right? So it links to my weather app. And if it hits 32 degrees at this location, right, it turns off the ambient heating in the room.
Jesus.
Right, and it sends me an email, and it sends me a text message to my phone to tell me that it's turning off the heating.
There's so much more.
So I can either bypass it, or I can go through. And that's not an expensive system. And it's an Australian system, being this Grid Connect thing. But I guarantee you there'll be an American equivalent.
That's awesome.
Mm.
There's so much more stuff we could do with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you literally link it in. So what you could potentially do is when you get a severe weather warning from your bureau to say snowstorm coming through on X, right, at what this time, as soon as that warning comes through, you program it, you get an email into this email address, fucking bang, now you're turning on storm mode.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
So
oh, man.
robots, mate.
Yeah.
Robots. Fucking Skynet is here and we're using it for reptiles.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we'll be the first ones to die now. Yeah.
See, you know what that is, right? That's like an old person joke these days. Because there's people that'd be watching this going, Skynet, what the fuck
hell
is
is
this guy
that?
talking about?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You know,
so true.
that's like straight out from my fucking youth. You know, like listening to fucking Guns N' Roses and just fucking going nuts.
100%.
That's awesome.
I was 10 years old when that song came out. Fucking hell! And now it's like on the old person station every now and then.
I know.
It's like, really? No, this is not old person. This is not old people music. You know,
Don't do this. Yeah.
Remember the
that's
first
all right.
time
You really want to feel you really want to feel old though, Eric.
Yeah.
Iowa from the Iowa album from Slipknot is now like 20 years old.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that came out in like 2002.
It
So
seems like
Disaster Piece
that's
is over 20 years old. And like I listen to Disaster Piece every fucking morning on my way to work.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
You know,
That's terrible.
that song is amazing. It is an amazing song. It's got drums it's got drums for days on it, but you know, at the same time, it does make me feel really old. But I'm like, this is good music, and it's like, no, this is really old.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
All
you
right,
start talking about
here's another one for you. This will make you feel really old.
right?
Do you know what year the Black Album came out?
Yeah.
Or Justice?
92. And Justice
92 for the Black.
wasn't it?
90. I thought it was 1990, right? But this is the
Maybe
thing,
it was.
right? How many people that are listening to this thing now were even born back then?
Probably not many.
Was Lucas born in that
No.
time?
No.
Oh god! Wow,
No.
that does make you feel old, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well,
That was the
Yeah.
that was the album of my year I graduated. That was like the album we listened to from day to night, the Black Album, you know? Holy
Jeez.
shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Whew.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was so
There you
cutting
go.
edge when they went on the Grammys and shit. And now that we're old. That's like
Yeah,
that's
well,
old people.
the thing is, right? I listen to Battery, Disaster
Yeah.
Piece, and then Master of Puppets. Right, that's like my fucking first 3 songs before I get on the road in the morning. And it's just like, yep, right, come on, let's go, have a good day.
I was 5, so yeah,
5.
5.
You were
Yeah.
5 years old when the Black Album came out?
We're talking Metallica, right? 91.
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
Holy
Jesus.
shit.
You weren't even a fucking
5
thought
years
when
old?
Puppets came out.
Oh, no wonder
Yeah, you were
my
talking
body doesn't
Terminator-
work anymore.
You mentioned Skynet, like that. Terminator came out in 84. I wasn't here till 86. So yeah.
Oh,
Jesus.
man. 5 years old.
Fuck, I feel so fucking old
Yeah,
right
that
now.
worse now.
Yeah, man. it is, man. Holy
I made
shit.
it worse, didn't I?
Oh, that hurts my soul,
So
man.
tell me, Owen. This will give me an idea of your generation, right?
Yeah.
So, what was the song that was playing at your graduation? What was the music that you were listening to back then?
God, I don't fucking remember. I don't fucking know.
No. He fucking remembers. You're embarrassed.
It was not good. I mean, I was like this way. I was listening to your shit. I was listening to Metallica and all that crap. I don't care what the hell the high school was playing, or
Oh,
what the hell were we all listening to? I don't fucking remember.
What year did you graduate?
High school was 2004.
Oh my god.
And then college.
Fuck,
was
that'd be when
2008.
Disturbed came out about then.
Yeah,
Disturbed,
I'd say
Slipknot.
Disturbed. Yeah, Disturbed, Slipknot, Kill Switch Engage.
Yeah.
2002, you said? Is that when you
2004.
graduated?
2004 is when I
4.
graduated high school. Yeah.
2004.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Wow.
Wow, that is old.
I'm like sitting there. I'm like,
Dude,
yeah,
anyway.
I listen to Disturbed still. Yeah, that's up there.
I bought my first house and was married in 2002, bro.
Fucking hell.
Yep. Well,
I did my first fucking Queensland herp trip in 2004. I was still living
Did
in
you?
Victoria back then. Yeah.
I had a grand total of no carpet pythons in 2004, and Then I think by the time I got to 2005, I was up to at least 2. So it's when we first started.
There you go.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, shit, I feel old now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
do too. I'm gonna go cry.
You know, you guys got I got 3 more years till I'm 40, and then you guys can deal with that in part of that. Yeah.
Hey,
40.
I'm not old, mate. I'm bloody 42. So, you know what? I'm at the meaning a lot,
There you
Yeah.
right?
go.
So, have you ever read that book
Oh God. Yeah.
by Douglas Adams?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, what's the meaning of life? 42.
42.
42.
42.
42 is the
I
meaning of
passed
life.
that a long time ago.
Hey, is Dory older than you, Eric, or younger?
She's younger. She's 5 years younger than me.
So how old is she?
She's I'm 48, so she's 43. So she's your age,
Yeah.
basically.
So remember this saying, mate. You're only as old as the woman you're feeling.
There you go. Okay, so I'm 42. Back in the game, baby.
Eric's like, I just dropped 5.
Ah, yes, I feel
Yes.
the rejuvenation.
Yeah, there you go. Wow,
Oh.
we've completely turned this fucking show to shit.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here.
It's just like we're listening to it. There's all sorts of reptile talk, and that's something we've just gone off talking about fucking music and old age, which is real bad.
It has officially gone off the rails, and there's no point in bringing it back.
That's why we can't beat the algorithm on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the whole
But
reason.
but it was a bit of fun. It was a bit of
Oh,
fun.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You know,
Hell yeah.
you thought I was going to be all fucking high and mighty and nasty, and I was just not in that mood. All right.
It could have happened, but I just wasn't feeling it today. Oh, all right.
Not enough metal
Yeah.
this morning, man. You gotta metal it up a little more and call us back.
Yeah, I really fucking do actually. I got a million things on though because I'm preparing for a couple of trips at the moment. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So you will see lots of photos soon.
Good.
Happy
Good.
days.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go so I don't fucking completely ruin my day. It's horrible weather down here. It's 31 degrees, and I'm looking at a storm that's going to be coming on a little bit later on this afternoon. So
Okay.
there'll be snaking to go and do.
Sweet.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Enjoy
All right.
the cold weather.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
There you go.
All right. Very good. Very good.
It's like
Oh, the
like an
doctor had
Australian-
3 kids in 2004.
All right, so listen, we all knew I was young when we started.
We're just
this show.
jealous of you, Owen. We're just jealous. That's all it is. It's just jealousy, man. It's just jealousy. Like when you wake
I
up and
think
your
I
eyes
remember,
don't
like,
work anymore.
I think I remember the
You
first
know?
time we had Nick on the show, and he's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, I was in my 20s
20?
at that point. Yeah, and he was like, "What in the goddamn hell?" I'm like, "Okay." So, yeah.
Are you even allowed to talk about carpet
I don't know.
pythons? What the
Like,
hell?
I didn't-
I've kept them longer than you've been alive.
Well, the weird thing is that, like, so every once in a while, Nick would be like, "I've had this one carpet. I think it was like old. Yeah, it was old as shit. It was like '86." I'm like, "I was born in '86. Like, I don't."
Wow, that's when you were born in
Yeah,
86?
'86. Yep.
86, okay.
Yep.
I was born in 74.
My God.
That's why whenever Justin plays the song 73, 74, you know, I like that song. 74, man. 'Cause I don't even think Jim was in his second marriage at that point, was he? I don't-
No, he wasn't, because I'm from the first one. Like, it was. Jesus.
Cha-choom, we'll leave on that note. I did have a cool carpet python to share, but yeah, I'll share it, and then we'll roll.
There's no
Is it too
point
late?
Bringing, I mean, you can show
I'm
it.
not going
why
to talk
not?
about it. I'm going to show it, and then we're
Just
going to
look
roll.
at it for 5 seconds.
It's a
and we're
diamond
leaving.
python coastal intergrade.
Dear
Pretty cool.
Lord.
Isn't that a crazy pattern?
Weird diamond, yeah.
Yeah. It's from I'm probably gonna butcher this, Mayall Lakes in New South Wales. So
Somebody would post that up and be like, "Look at my diamond python with its great rosettes." It's like, but no.
yeah,
That's
it's
cool, though.
It's like a
Dig it.
national park. Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, that's my carpet python for the week.
Okay.
All right.
I have to call my dad and be like, Eric hung you out to dry.
Oh dear, he's gonna be quite. Tell him we're having Carpet Fest this year.
I've already told him, and he's already
Okay.
like, well, I guess maybe I will fit it into my schedule. I'm like, shut up.
He'll be
Shut
right
up.
there.
And for anybody who's interested, we are having Carpet Fest, Northeast Carpet Fest. It's August 12th.
Yes, August
at
12th.
Eric's house. So
yes,
start planning, start getting plane tickets. If you live out in, like, I don't know, Utah or some other place, maybe you want to get a plane ticket. If you're a guy who maybe has a doctorate, I don't know. So yeah, but
yeah. So we settled on a date. I guess we should announce that at some point. Huh?
We should. I told Balin was asking about it, and I told him that we were going to make the announcement official at some point, and he goes, when? I'm like, I don't know. Like, soon. So, but we should
if my
do that.
body wasn't falling apart, I would make the announcement. Yes, I will make the announcement.
We'll do it at the next NPR. We'll have the announcement at the next NPR, and then we'll make a post, and we'll tell everybody about how we're going to be changing a little bit of stuff, and there will be a hard stop time, and then there you go.
Yeah, right. Okay, as usual, thanks everybody for listening.
Yep.
If you want some awesome coffee, Cold-Blooded Caffeine.com, go check it out. They have the carpet and coffee blend,
It's delicious.
a couple other different blends. I think
Mm-hmm.
THP is getting in on the coffee thing.
You gotta just copy us every single way you can think of. Okay.
Our only spot. What are we? What would you call it? It's a not a sponsor, affiliate.
Affiliate, yeah. Only affiliate,
But I love what you're doing. I love coffee. I love reptiles.
We're gonna get branded cigars now and make Schmitty sell them in his thing. I'm gonna figure this out. We're gonna have NPR cigars that he's gonna have to sell. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
Cold-Blooded Caffeine. If you use when in
August 12th.
August 12th.
Yes, Robert. I will see you. It's next Saturday, and I will be vending Hamburg, and I will see you there. So, yes.
Coming up next week, NPR, me and Owen are going to be talking about the book, The Art of Keeping Snakes by Philip Evosia.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm going to read that furiously in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yes. So I've read it before. It's a great book.
I have too, but I need to put some post-its in there. So.
Yeah, get to work, Owen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have homework now.
That'll be next week.
Yes.
We had Reptile Fight Club just came out. Good one.
We like them.
Lizards or snakes. That was a pretty good one.
Wait.
Yeah.
The topic was lizards or snakes, or lizards are snakes?
No, lizards versus snakes, which are better.
Okay. All right. Thank God.
Yeah.
I was about to be like, wait a minute. What kind of Fight Club is that lizards are snakes? Like, please don't do that.
Colubrid and Colubroid Radio, they just released an episode on Boega.
Yeah, Dan did that.
Cool. I think the Boa guys have recorded I forget what they were talking about this time, but they have one, I think, in the ready to go. Monitors podcasts will be out tomorrow afternoon. I'm trying to think. I think the Aussie guys, I want to say that I think maybe Luke is traveling or something. So, but they'll get back into it. I'm trying to think what else. We got a couple Carpet Python videos coming up on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
I got to finish off some editing, and we should have Carpet Cliff Notes that kind of got delayed a little bit, but will be coming out. Me and Owen recorded it. It's just a matter of editing it and putting it all together. So we got there. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to all the podcasts. The ones.
And the Patreon. We got a Patreon stream coming up here soon too. Yep.
And I should be putting up. Nick talked about red coastal carpets That's going to go up for the patron.
Yeah, let's start a fight. So it's
yeah. Well, we'll keep that behind the paywall, man. Behind the paywall.
We're gonna keep that behind the
We know
paywall
certain
to
people
prevent
are
a
not
riot.
paying
Yeah,
for that, so we won't have to worry about that, Owen. So we'll be good. Yeah, I'm really I'm working on the website. I don't know if we're going to do a separate website for the carpet python stuff or just put it all under NPR. I guess at some point me and Owen have to meet and chat about
we
this.
have one of those meetings where we go and we have a set thing of what we're supposed to talk about, and then all we end up doing is talking about snakes and checking out your shit. And then I'm halfway home and I'm like, "Fuck, we didn't talk about it."
We didn't even talk about anything. Yeah, it's kind of how it goes. We're terrible.
Yeah, it's
this
not
isn't
good.
why we're not successful YouTubers, Owen. This is why
we don't have a coordinated plan. It's just ferrets in a bag. Yeah, I understand.
Yes. Erica, I'll message you. No worries. Yes. I did say Reds. I will message you.
Yes. Yeah, that is what happened.
He was quiet all show, and then all of a sudden you say Reds and he pops out. Like, love it. All right. So website is MoreliaPythonRadio.com, and our email, if you want to get in touch with us, is info@MoreliaPythonRadio.com. We thank you guys for the support, for all the stuff that we're trying to do. And we hope to see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Well, that was awkward.